Man, Keith, I could listen to you talk all day long. You could have gone on past that 10 minutes. You're super inspiring. I am so excited to be in Texas today. I announced my candidacy yesterday. I found out about this forum about noon and got on a flight and flew all night. I have one piece of business before I talk about myself, and that is that as an executive director in Idaho, I know that it takes money to put on these type of affairs. So I want to challenge all of the other candidates in the race to post on your websites and your Facebook pages, ask for the Texas Democratic Party. I did that when I landed at 5 a.m. this morning. We've got to make sure that our state parties have the resources that they need, and I believe in putting my money where my mouth is. So candidates in the room, I put that challenge in front of you. I am not a typical candidate, so I'm not going to sound like a typical candidate. The reality is that I've been doing the hard work in Idaho and at the national level and trying to figure out some really big problems. As I go through the country talking to paid professionals who are much smarter than I am, I ask big questions. And most of the time I find that people are overwhelmed with the questions that I ask. One of the things that's really important to me is that we look towards the future and we figure out how we build a 21st century party that is full of energy, that has the resiliency and the innovation to be able to look at the changing realities of our society. We have 50% of the country who didn't vote in this election. And I love that I heard one of the committee reports saying that we're going to talk to the folks in Texas who didn't vote. That's exactly what we need to be talking about. Why didn't they vote? I can guarantee that it is not the same reason for that whole group of people. They all have different reasons, but we need to be having that conversation. And we need to be creating a party that answers whatever we hear back from them. We need to be thinking about the big questions that are out there, the really big problems, and there's a ton of them, so I won't go into them. You guys think about them every day. You're on the grassroots, doing the hard work. I went this morning to sit in on your committees because I believe a DNC chair needs to be down with the people doing the work. The leadership style that we've had for decades, it's what I call old power versus new power, which is, I think, the conversation that we're having in our society, where you have a leader at the top and you have people underneath, is not going to work any longer for this society that we live in. We need to have a flat structure where everybody is involved in not just the work that needs to be done, but the ideas and the decisions that need to be done. So one of the things that you're going to see from me in the next 2 months is engagement at the grassroots level, but in a very different way. I'm going to be asking people to join me via my Facebook page and my website, WeTheDNC.com, or We the DNC on Facebook, and create work groups and decide on what they feel like the top 10 big questions are that we need to be answering, so that 40 years from now, we are the strongest party in this country, and we've figured out how to get the 50% of Americans who aren't voting to participate in democracy at every single level. I'm going to take those 10 questions and I'm going to welcome people to create work groups. And over the course of the next 2 months, I'm going to have those folks work in those work groups, trying to brainstorm at least a process on how we start answering some of these questions. We can't just focus on the next 2 years, the next 4 years. Those are important. And I think that we have to depend on our state parties to be able to do that work. You guys have done amazing work in this state. You should be a template. A lot of your programs should be a template to get out to the other states for what's happening. You know how to do that work. We can easily at the DNC get resources, create a strong partnership to be able to empower states to do the election work for the 2 years and the 4 years in their states. We also need to be creating some leadership to be able to take on some of the problems that are facing our society at the bigger level, and not the ideological problems. We have had a great debate over what we are as Democrats, whether we're liberal, whether we're moderate, and we know that we've been a big tent. We're for the people. We've always been for the people. Nobody in here thinks the exact same thing, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So let's take that diversity, the diversity of thought, the diversity of the people that we have in the party, and put them to work. Get the great brains in our party together talking about some of these overwhelming problems, rather than just focusing on one step in front of us at a time. We can't afford to do that any longer. If we continue to do that, 20 years from now, state parties will be obsolete. There's too many issues that are facing us today to be able to afford to do that. And this is the perfect time to do it. I am sorry, but the problems that afflict us right now did not suddenly appear on November 9th when we all woke up that morning shocked. And you guys had some great things to celebrate while you were also shocked, so good for you. They have been here, right? So we need to take this as an opportunity to get excited and get passionate and really go after them. So that's what I'm all about. You can read more on WeTheDNC.com about my bio and the things that I've done for state parties. And I just appreciate you putting this forum together. So thank you very much.